Alright, what's going on everybody? It's Nazfight Media coming at you with another video. You guys already know what time it is. It's time to bring on that boxing. Today we're going to be talking about Keith Thurman and Errol Spence. It was ordered by the WBC to, make this fight happen. It's going to be interesting. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but like, obviously everyone's saying, Keith Thurman's old already. It wouldn't, prove much for Errol Spence to fight a guy like Keith Thurman. I think it's still a great fight. I would love to see Keith Thurman and Errol Spence get in the ring. Obviously there was the history of Errol Spence calling him out when Keith was champion, and it was like Sean Porter, Danny Garcia. It was their era, the Barclays Center, putting on shows in Brooklyn. These guys were the top guys aside from Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, obviously, but it was just a different time. But those were the young bucks. Those were the guys that everyone had their eyes on. They were saying this guy's the next world champion, and it's pretty accurate. Those guys were definitely the top in the welterweight division, top prospects. They made their names at 147 pounds. But Keith Thurman and Errol Spence, they're saying that it's going to be ordered. Does that mean the fight's going to happen? We'll see. Nothing's ever set in stone in the sport of boxing. There are ways to get out of everything. I feel like there are always exceptions when it comes to money and making these matchups. I think that the fight makes sense, especially if Errol Spence can't get the Terrence Crawford fight. Obviously, he's fighting David Avanesian, and I think like December 10th, something like that. I forget the exact date, but I think Keith Thurman's a more credible opponent. I think that's a name that Errol Spence could just add to his resume. Obviously, Manny Pacquiao beat Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman, he made his return against Mario Barrios. Didn't look the best, but still got the job done. Had his moments. He still has that power, but it's more of, is his body able to hold up, with all the shots that Errol Spence is going to give, the high volume, the shots to the body. Is Keith Thurman going to be able to take that? I don't know. I definitely favor Errol Spence in that fight. Keith Thurman, he definitely has a puncher's chance. He's definitely, he still has that explosive pop, but I don't know if the endurance is there, and then the body. I feel like, as taking into consideration how big of a body puncher Errol Spence is, it's going to give Keith Thurman a lot of problems, and I like Keith. I'm a Keith Thurman fan. I wanted to see this fight a while back when Keith was still champion, but you can't get everything you want, especially in the sport of boxing. It comes with time. So, at least we'll get to see it maybe, because it's being ordered along with other fights. I think, Wilder, Ruiz, I think, was also ordered. A lot of good fights that could, come into play. In terms of, how Keith Thurman can beat Errol Spence, he can catch him with a shot. I don't know. I think Errol's just too disciplined to the point where it's going to be hard to do that. He may have his moments. I think he could definitely win some rounds against Errol Spence, fight in waves. I think that's how he could do it, kind of like Manny Pacquiao did to him, kind of steal rounds, fight for half of the rounds and make a, step on the gas and then, maybe take part of the round off. But it's just going to be difficult because Errol Spence is the guy that doesn't let you take a round off. He stays on you. Keith's going to have to be faster on his feet than Errol Spence. He's going to have to protect himself in the body, because that's where I think, that's going to always be the, his weakness, if anything. His kryptonite is, shots to the body. He's been hurt against Manny Pacquiao to the body, and then you have the, I think Sean Porter and Danny Garcia have hurt him to the body, but not as bad as Manny Pacquiao, and then obviously Mario Barrios also hurt him. So I think that he's going to be, in for a long night against Errol Spence, but it's still not out of the possibility that Keith Thurman pulls this off, just because Keith is he's a very passionate fighter, and this is a big fight for him. He loses this fight, you have to consider, maybe never getting a title shot again. But if he wins it and somehow pulls it off, that changes everything. That's just that's the reason why boxing is so exciting, is because, just one thing can go wrong for, the best fighter in the world on that night, and everything changes, and Keith Thurman's the new champion. So that could happen. I'm not saying it's going to. If I were to bet money, I'd probably bet on an Errol Spence stoppage, something to the body, towards the end of the fight, but not in the championship rounds, maybe seventh or eighth round. I like Keith. It's just Errol Spence is just going to be too much for him, I feel. And it's nothing, I'm not trying to take away from him. It's just like seeing history, judging, past fights, past performances. Errol's just too constant with the pressure, and I don't think Keith is going to be able to take one of those body shots, once they start landing those uppercuts. I think it's just going to give him too many problems. And, I think Errol gets him out of there. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about this fight. Do you guys want it to happen? Do you guys care for it? I definitely care for it more than Terrence Crawford's fight, respectfully. But, you know, maybe Keith Thurman, you know, fights a Terrence Crawford after, no matter what happens. Or if we can't get that fight, we'll get some sort of mix-up between all of these guys, because, you know, as long as we see them active, we'd rather see them fight than not fight at all, and say that they're coming up with a mega fight between Crawford and Spence. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys updated with any intel I get. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button, hit the comment button with your predictions. You know, Keith one-time Thurman versus the Truth, Errol Spence Jr. Let me know, guys, and I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching. Peace. Well, that's going to do it for another NazFight Media video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for the constant support. Salute to you always.